Welcome to channel Today in History. In today's video we will talk about the day, September 9, 1976. Mao Tse-Tung Dies. The most important Chinese politician and statesman of the 20th century was born in Hunan, China, in 1893, into a family of rural workers. Young Mao left his father's home and entered the Changsha School of Magisterium, where he began to get in touch with Western thought. He later enlisted in the Nationalist Army, where he served for half a year, before returning to Changsha as a primary school principal. He later worked at Peking University as an auxiliary librarian and read Bakunin and Kropotkin, as well as coming into contact with two key men of the future Chinese Socialist Revolution, Li Dazhao and Chen Duxiu. In May 1919, the student revolt against Japan broke out in Beijing, in which Mao Zedong was actively involved. In 1921, he participated in the founding of the Communist Party, and 2 years later, when the party formed an alliance with the Nationalist Party, Mao became responsible for the organization. Back in Hunan, he understood that the suffering of the peasants was the force that should bring about social change in the country, an idea he expressed in Inquiry on the Peasant Movement in Hunan. The alliance with the Nationalists was broken, the Communists and their institutions decimated, and the peasant rebellion put down. With a large contingent of peasants, Mao fled to the mountainous region of Jiangxi, from where he led a guerrilla war against Chiang Kai-shek, chief of his former allies. The Red Army, the name given to the Communist Party militias, managed to occupy different rural regions of the country, which gave rise to a civil war. In 1930, Mao married his second wife, He Zixin. The following year the Soviet Republic of China was proclaimed, of which Mao was elected chairman, challenging his party committee to abandon the bureaucracy of urban politics and focus its attention on the peasantry. Despite Mao's victories in the first part of the Civil War, in 1934 Chiang Kai-shek managed to encircle Red Army troops, after which Mao undertook the Great March from Jiangxi to northwestern China. Meanwhile, the Japanese had invaded the north of the country, forcing a new alliance between communists and nationalists to face the common enemy. After World War II, the Civil War was restarted, with the progressive victory of the Communists. On October 1, 1949, the People's Republic of China was officially proclaimed, with Mao Zedong as president. Although in the beginning it followed the Soviet model for the establishment of a socialist republic, over time it introduced important changes, such as prioritizing agriculture over heavy industry. From 1959 onwards, he left the post of Chinese president, but he retained the presidency of the party and promoted a socialist education campaign, in which massive popular participation was highlighted as the only way to achieve true socialism. During this period, known as the Proletarian Cultural Revolution, Mao managed to dismantle and reorganize the party thanks to the participation of youth through the Red Guard. His political philosophy as a statesman was reflected in his book Quotes from President Mao Tse-tung, or the Red Book. He died in 1976, after a long illness hidden from the Chinese population, and his funeral it was celebrated with great pomp and ostentation. Did you like the video? In the description you will find the blog link with the full article. Give an incentive by subscribing to the channel, liking, commenting and sharing with your friends. Hugs. Until the next.